What's up, YouTube? Welcome, everybody. This is Mitch Maeli Live, and we're excited to bring you an awesome new edition of Deal or No Deal. We're going to play the rentals edition of Deal or No Deal today. Of course, I'm your host, Mitch Nelson. Maeli is here next to me. Actually, not next to me, in the other room, but next to me on the screen. So, what's up, Maeli? We've got people joining us on YouTube. We got people here on Zoom. I hope we fill up a little bit on Zoom today because this is more fun with more people. But this just means that everybody has to play, right? Everybody has to play. So if you're on Zoom, you're playing today. I'm sorry, but we're gonna jump in. We're gonna talk about quick analysis, and that is the process of analyzing properties, running the numbers, and making sure that it's going to work out as in this case, a rental. Right, a buy and hold investment. So the whole idea here is we want to get to a point where we can run those numbers in under 2 minutes. As we build wealth and as we build our real estate empire, we're trying to get time freedom and get financial freedom. And an important part of that is time freedom, because you can totally get stuck in your job, but we don't want that for you. We want you to be able to create a system where you can analyze these properties quickly and make decisions on the fly. So that is the point of this game. I hope everybody on Zoom is ready to play. All we're going to need is a computer with an internet browser tonight. So make sure you're there. And then let's start with announcements. So Maeli, we've got some announcements, right? We've got our in-person mastermind coming up. So for those of you in the Utah area, we're going to be meeting tomorrow night at Top Equity Realty, recently rebranded to Real Estate Essentials. We're going to be meeting at the Real Estate Essentials brokerage in Murray, Utah, for our in-person mastermind. So if you can make it, we'd love to have you there. It's a great opportunity to network with other like-minded individuals, other real estate investors, real estate investing students. A great place to talk about what you're working on and what you need. A lot of times, anything we need when we're out investing, whether it's equity partners or contractors or attorneys or accountants, usually I can find it in that room. So you're going to want to be there. And then we have our national conference coming up. So we have thousands of students flying in from around the country to come see our national conference. Our founder and CEO Bob Snyder will be there. A lot of our top instructors in our education will be there, and there's also going to be some awesome new announcements that we can't talk about yet. Maeli and I know, but we can't tell you. And I can tell you this. It's going to be amazing, and you're going to love it. So you're not going to want to miss it. And of course, that's March 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. And on the 22nd, which is a Friday, we have our banquet, which is an opportunity for all of us to get together and hang out and just have, an incredible networking and social gathering, an amazing dinner, an awards ceremony. It's going to go until the wee hours of the morning. You're not going to want to miss it. It's an incredible party. I enjoy that. I look forward to it every year.
And really, all that really matters is I have a peacock dress that I will be wearing, and this is going to be fabulous.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Black tie. Come dressed up. It's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so Maeli, any other announcements?
No, so if you are a female, a woman, entrepreneur, I'd love for you to join our Creating Her Empire group. We are exploding. We went from 25 women in 2023 to now over 650 women, and we are just growing exponentially. We're so excited to help each other level up. So this is not a group of judgment or a group where we aren't thriving in each other's successes. In fact, it's the only rule in our group is that we help each other thrive. That's it. So, it's where you actually could feel obligated almost to share your success. So if any one of you is, if Angie or Missy or Melissa, if you're like, oh my gosh, I just put something under contract, or I just made my first offer, or whatever it might be, this is where you share that so that we can all celebrate your success. And because it's those little wins that add up to the really big wins here soon. So just keep that in mind.
And Maeli, you're in a different room tonight. We don't have your teal background. What's going on?
Oh, I know. Yeah. Mitch is renovating my office for Valentine's. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, it's so
Just give him a
cute,
beautiful
guys.
new
It's gonna be
office.
so cute.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I know. So this is my dining room.
Coming soon. Maeli's new
Yeah.
office.
So This is my dining room, but soon I'll be back in my own office. But this is also a fabulous. Look, he's got my peacock and got Mitch's lion behind me. What do you feel? What do you think? Like that's a good vibe, right? Like that makes sense.
I love it.
Although I know that's a male peacock. People always say that. Why do you love male peacocks? They're just gorgeous, okay? So that's why. It's not because I don't love the
It's true.
women peacocks. They're just super pretty. But yeah, I do want to talk a little bit about today before you launch into your fun game. And
Let's
this
do
is
it.
going to be a super fun game. Traditionally, like this is actually the game, Deal or No Deal is what I play every day. And it was funny last week, our son Cash and Mitch and we were playing the new Barbie Monopoly game. Okay. And I mean, it's so different than the traditional Monopoly, but it's super fun. And Mitch got it for me for Christmas because I love Barbie, right? Like it's so cute. And we were playing and I won because well, duh, right? And, and Mitch and Cash is like, why is this like the case? And then both Mitch and I go, well, it's because we play this every day. Like we have this huge empire, right, of just real estate and Cash, my son's like, oh. And at the end of it, the whole lesson was, yeah, but you have to learn how to actually play the game of Monopoly. And since we play this game every single day, I felt like we kind of had an upper hand, right?
It's true.
And so I do love that you guys get to play this game. It is just a game, keep that in mind, but it is such an crucial skill for you guys to start figuring out and really have fun with it. Like I encourage you and I challenge you to actually take this game super seriously tonight because whether you're the person that like the board game at the end of Monopoly, because I've definitely been that person because I'm very competitive. Um, or you're the person that just plays to just have fun. It doesn't matter. Have a ton of fun tonight and recognize that it's just a really incredible learning experience to learn while you're just having fun. It's not dialed into exact science. I don't think that it is just like Monopoly, but it is an opportunity to really have some fun with it. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm going to say about that. And then I just wanted to share a little bit of personal story here. So today I actually had an opportunity to go to the X room. So if you were a part of my Facebook or Instagram story today, I obviously enlightened you a little bit more about this, but I shared a story because I felt like it was very necessary after I left this space. I was surrounded by 200 of the top business owners in the state of Utah, right? So not outside, well, actually, Illinois, there was a bunch of other business owners that were there too that felt obligated and felt very like enticed to be there. But it's a kind of an elite, you have to be invited only real estate and or business right group. And it's like who's changing the face of Utah? We are responsible single-handedly to make these choices as a community. How it looks, how it feels, how the environment is, right? Like all of the things. And because we're responsible for that, what are we doing with that responsibility? And something that was kind of a theme going around the room and just kind of as we were talking and networking and masterminding was this, oh yeah, isn't it interesting that as business owners, the moment you're like, oh yeah, I'm the CEO now of this real estate investing firm, right? Because all of you, they're on this call, are the CEO of your real estate investing firm. End of story. Every single one of you. But it's so interesting that so many of us forget that we're not supposed to be the CFO. We're not supposed to be the marketing director. We're not supposed to be the bookkeeper, the accounting director, right? We're not supposed to be any of those people. And yet we put on all of those hats. And today was just a really beautiful reminder that if you are trying to play all of those pieces in your business, you're wrong. Like you are actually doing it wrong. And yes, there's some cheaper ways to get started inside of those things, right? Rather than hiring a full-time CFO, you can hire somebody that's a CFO when you need them. Like there's all sorts of scenarios that you can do to really like leverage your empire. But I do want you to take yourself so seriously that on your email chain, right? When you're sending an email, it says CEO of, Walker Empire, right? Like so serious. It's like, oh, like who is this empire group? Yeah, I'm the CEO. You need to be first, and you need to sign off everything with who you are and what you're doing. Because if you're not letting people know, you'll be really pissed off. That's the last thing that I want to share before Mitch obviously dives into the rules and how to play the game is I can't tell you how many people I actually met somebody today that was a neighbor of a neighbor who I used to live by. And they're like, oh my gosh, I actually just started watching your show. And I thought, oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Right? Like, thank you for our support. And she's like, oh, I wish you would have told us about real estate 6 years ago. I felt really sad because I didn't. Like, I didn't even mention it to her before I moved. And I could have because I was right in the, like, right in the grind. And I felt so bad. Right then I thought, oh, yeah, like I could have brought you with me. And instead, I just assumed that you wouldn't want anything to do with this. Because, like, oh, this is weird or whatever, right? Like, shame on me for thinking that. And I felt so bad because she's doing incredible things with wellness. And she's like, all this time I could have been spending, like, all the money I made, I could have been also putting it in real estate and you didn't tell me about it. Sorry. Right? I did. I felt so bad. So I guess that's my biggest, like, takeaway from, like, the big, networking experience that we had today was just simply, first off, don't be aces in their places, as Mitch always says, right? Aces in their places. Don't feel like you need to be the person that knows everything. You should not. Figure out what you're really good at and niche down. Be like, cool, I'll hire every single other person out in my business, right? And then next, do not choose to not share this with other people. Like, if you're learning something, share it. Whether they want to hear it or not, at least you won't feel guilty like I did today. At least you won't feel like, oh, you're right. If I would have just said something, like, maybe you would have came along with me. But instead, I just was like very like, she wouldn't care. She didn't want that. So I'm sorry, Alicia, for watching. I love you dearly. But, right? Like, anyway, so don't do what I did. Share the love. Let people know that you're freaking amazing and that you can create and help them create empires. And let's figure out how to do it playing this game.
I love it. Maeli, thank you. All right, guys. Ready to play? I think we're ready. So I do want to know, because this game only works, like, if I'm just sitting here to being the moderator and nobody's playing, everybody's just spectating. Not fun and nobody learns anything. So I want to know, in the chat, you can either react with the Zoom reactions or you can put it in the chat. I'm watching both right here on my monitor. I want to know if you're playing. So raise your hand, give me a thumbs up, give me a hey yo, whatever you're feeling. Okay, Angie's playing. All right, who else is playing? I got Missy's playing. Okay, who else? We need more than 2 people. Because we can just cut this call short and we'll just give you like a little tiny, quick analysis training and the boring side, and we can be done. Who else is playing?
Yes.
I want to see it.
Chris.
Melissa, you got to play. I'm waiting for your hand to go up. Oh, Chris is playing. Michael's playing. Yeah. Okay, we got 4 people. Come on, Melissa, you need this. I'm waiting to see that hand go up.
Coach Road. I mean, come on.
Charlotte's playing. Come on. All right, Angie's still
I'm
playing.
trying. I'm just doing another thing for my sister, so I will definitely try.
Okay. All right. Good deal. All right. I think we got enough players. I think 5 is a good minimum. So if we got 5 people, I think we can play this game. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the rules for a second. I am going to remove Maeli from the spotlight here and share my screen. All right. Let's jump in. Okay. What we got? Deal or no deal? Here we go. All right. Deal or no deal. Rentals edition. Here we go. It's going to be incredible. I'm excited. Consider me, what's that guy's name that does Deal or No Deal? Crap, I just lost it. Oh well. I'm your show host for tonight, right? Deal or No Deal. Here we go. All right, so this is what we're covering tonight. So if you remember, I know I hit on this all the time, but it's so important, and repetition just ingrains it in your mind. So there is one action. There's one action you can take. The moment you do this thing, and remember it's an action, the moment you do this thing, your net worth goes up. We come back to, why are we all here? Why are we all investing in real estate? Well, the answer is so we can build wealth for ourselves, for our posterity, right? We want to build wealth. There's one action you take that actually increases your net worth. Who knows what it is? Buy. Chris nailed it. we buy real estate, right? As soon as we buy an asset, when we sign on that dotted line, our net worth goes up. And there's a system. There's a 5-step system. You can see it on the screen. It's the deal spotter system. We also call it the asset acquisition system. 5 steps: find, analyze, negotiate, fund, and close on deals. If you focus as the CEOs of your real estate empire, if you focus on those 5 things, then your net worth will constantly be going up. Now, as I like to remind you, collecting rent is not the action that makes your net worth go up. So hire someone else to do that. Hire a property manager. Working on your fix and flip, being the painter, being the lawnmower, being the landscaper, being the interior designer, those things do not make your net worth go up. Buying assets does. So as the CEO of your business, you should be focused on these five things. Step 1, find. Step 2, analyze. Step 3, negotiate. Step 4, fund. And step 5, close on deals. And we break it down in the deal system as follows, which basically synonymous: lead generation, quick analysis, offer, long analysis, and follow through. Tonight's lesson / game, we've gamified it, is focused on step 2, quick analysis. We buy investments based on numbers. Rule number 1 of investing: we do not invest emotionally. We don't invest because my wife loves the color of the drapes. We don't invest because I love the garage and I think it has a cool workshop. We don't invest because we love the school district or we think the kitchen has a nice layout. Those aren't reasons to invest. Those are reasons for you to buy your own personal residence. But when it comes to investing, there's one reason that we purchase a house, and that's because the numbers work. And that starts with step 2, quick analysis. It's refined in step 4, but it starts with quick analysis. And tonight you're going to learn how to run your numbers in 2 minutes or less, and we are going to play Deal or No Deal to be to really kind of drive that home and practice. So I want everybody to play along. I'm bringing up my my timer here. Okay, so here are the rules of the game. We're going to go through this a couple of times. We're going to do one practice round, and then we're going straight into the game. So here's how we play. The moderator, which is me, or the winning player of the last round, identifies a city. We plug that city into Zillow, and then I will, as the moderator, I will identify a property in that city. Okay, we're going to set the minimum cash flow at $250. Okay, $250 a month. That's our universal minimum cash flow. Now, in real life, you get to set your own. That number can be $1. That number can be $0. I don't recommend that. That number could be $1,000 a month. I also don't recommend that. You want, Maeli and I have a range of between $400 and $500 a month per door that we like to see if we're going to invest in a property. So, that's a little rich. Like, we're very picky about the properties we pick up, but we can be because we have an abundance of leads. So, I think a good number, a good kind of low end number is $250 a month in net cash flow. So that's our minimum net cash flow. So the purchase price is to be played as listed on Redfin or Zillow. So in a lot of cases, that's the asking price of the property. In some cases, it's the Zestimate, right? So that's the asking price. That's the purchase price of the property as we're going to play it in the game. The players use the purchase price with a 20% down payment to calculate the mortgage payment on the Zillow mortgage calculator. And I am putting that in the chat right now. There's the link. So go into the chat and pull that up on your phones because that's the tool you're going to be using tonight. So players are going to use the purchase price with a 20% down payment to calculate what their mortgage payment is going to be. Now the moderator, me, I will give 3 rent comps. You have to take those 3 rent comps, and players add the 3 comparables together and divide them by 3 to get average rent. So I'll give you 3 comps, you add those together, you divide them by 3. That is your average rent price. That's how you're running your numbers. Now, obviously in real life, you're gonna have to go find your own comps, but for the sake of gameplay, I'm gonna provide those comps to you tonight. I'm just gonna pull them out of the air. Okay, so players subtract the mortgage payment from the average rent, and that gives us the gross cash flow. So you're gonna take your mortgage payment, you're gonna take your gross rent. So that's what you're getting up here, your rent, right? Let's see, we're average rent. So we're gonna take our average rent and we're gonna subtract our mortgage payment, and that gives us our gross cash flow. Okay, and then we're going to take 10% of the mortgage payment and we're going to subtract that from the gross cash flow to cover management and expenses during the month. Okay, that will give us our net cash flow. If the net cash flow is above the minimum cash flow, which is $250, so if it's $251, if it's $250 even, if it's $270 or $300 or $400, then it's a deal. And you type deal into the chat. Okay? If the net cash flow is below $250, so if your net cash flow comes back as $249 or $248 or $200 or $100 or negative, right, whatever, then it's no deal. And you want to type no deal into the Zoom chat as quickly as you can. The first player to correctly identify deal or no deal wins the round. Okay, so your goal is you want to be the first person in that chat. Now, even if you're not the first person, still finish analyzing it, because remember, this part of this is practice. Part of this is practice for real life. So you want to be going through the motions. But also, sometimes the first person to answer gets it wrong. And so in that case, it goes to the second person. And sometimes that person gets it wrong. So then it goes to the third person, right? So you want to put it in the chat no matter what, even if you're not first, throw it in there. Okay. So let's stop now and see if there's any questions. Do you have any questions? Come off of mute if you have questions.
What interest rate are you guys using for the mortgage?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, since you asked the question, you get to pick it. What interest rate are we using?
I don't know what it is right now. 6, 7. What is it?
Why don't we go 6.5? Just split that difference. Good question. I'm writing that down. Mortgage interest rates, and I'm going to add that into the rules here for next time. We're going to go 6.5%. So remember that. Mortgage interest rate is 6.5%. So as you're using the calculator, you want to use a mortgage interest rate of 6.5%. Good call, Charlotte. Thank you for pointing that out.
And amortized 30.
Amortized at 30 years, yep. And a 20% down payment.
What about taxes and insurance?
Is it asking you that on the... Let me pull up that calculator real quick.
The calculators usually will put it in there unless you change it.
Yeah, so interest rate, we're going to go... Actually, the current rate shows at 6.886, but we're going to change that to 6.5. Okay, so home price, $300,000. Down payment, we're going to do 20% always. 30-year fixed at 6.5% interest rate. Okay, so that's going to give us our monthly payment. So where do we calculate that here? Oh, your monthly payment, $1,832. Okay, so if you're seeing my screen, $1,832. So if we change this to like a $600,000 purchase price.
We're not seeing your screen, Mitch.
You're not seeing my screen. Okay.
I see the how to play rules, but I'm not seeing your
You
screen.
still see how to play. I guess I got to change. Let me change it. Share screen. All right, here we go. All right, you guys see my screen now? Let me know. Good to go? Give me a shout out. I'm not hearing anybody. Can you guys see my screen? Wait, give me a thumbs up. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Okay.
I can see your screen.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay, so I put 600,000 in. My down payment would be 120 grand. 30-year fixed. We've got to change this to 6.5. Boom. That's going to give me a $3,628 down payment. Whoa. 6.5. Okay. There we go. What?
So if you click on advanced, you have to unclick PMI. I don't know why it keeps changing on you. There we go. Since you're putting down 20%, you don't have to pay PMI, so you could unselect that, right?
Ooh, that's a good question. I can barely hear. Is that Chris?
Yeah. So if you push enter on rate, that's when it switches it.
Ah, is that what I'm doing? I'm pushing enter.
Yeah. So
Okay.
don't push enter on anything. That's what I've learned.
Okay. All right. We're gonna keep PMI and we're gonna keep taxes and insurance. So let's leave it on there. Actually, that's a good point, though, Angie. If we have 20% down, we don't need either of those, right? Or we need taxes and insurance because we want it PITI.
Yeah, you'll need taxes and insurance, but not PMI.
But not PMI. So we're gonna do no PMI, which is mortgage insurance. Okay, so you can take that off, and that will put our down payment at, or excuse me, our monthly payment at $3,559. Okay, so that's how we're gonna play. That's how you calculate mortgage payment. And then when we go back to the deal or no deal screen, let me share that one again. Then we go back to the rules. So that's how we calculate our mortgage payment. And then we take our average rent, that is the average of the three rent comps that I give you, and we take the average rent and we subtract the mortgage payment, and that gives us gross cash flow. And then we subtract another 10% of the mortgage payment from the gross cash flow for the net cash flow. And the net cash flow is above, if the net cash flow is above the minimum cash flow, which is up here, $250 a month. If the net cash flow is above $250, greater than or equal to, then it's a deal. If it's less than $250, then it's no deal. Okay? Any other questions? These were all great points. I appreciate you guys bringing them up. Okay, let's run a little. Okay, let's run a scenario here. Let's run an example. All right, can you all see my Zillow screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna bring up. Oh, there's one. This guy. Okay, 1.5 million. I'm gonna do something a little smaller. This is actually one of my flips. Let's go Mill Creek, Utah. Here's a cute little house. That'd be fun to rent. It's about right for Mill Creek, $500,000 for a little 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay. So if we were to take 579.9 and plug that into our calculator, so 579,900, then we take our 20% down at a 30-year fixed at 6.5%, no PMI. That gives us a payment of $34.43 a month. Okay. Then let's say we've got. I'm gonna write these down as I tell you. Let's say we've got some comps at 3,400, 4,000, and 4,500, or excuse me, 3,500. So if those are our three comps, 3,400 plus 4,000, 3,400 plus 4,000 plus 3,500. Add those up, divide it by 3, 36, 33. So that equals 36.33. So that's our gross rent. Then we're going to take our mortgage payment of 3,443 times it by 10%. Okay, 344.30, and we are going to subtract that from our 3633, and that gives us 32.88. We're now going to take that 32.88 and we're going to subtract the mortgage payment again, and that will give us our cash flow. So 34.43. That gives us a negative $154 in cash flow. So is that a deal or a no deal? No deal, obviously. We're not going to buy a negative. We're not going to buy a negative cash flow property. So we would put no deal in the chat, right? And the first person to put no deal in the chat wins. Okay, so I'm going to pick a property for us, and we're going to do round one. So everybody get ready. We need our normal calculator and we need our mortgage calculator. So get those queued up on your phone or on your desktop or laptop, and be ready to go back and forth between them. We are going to pick some awesome properties here, and I think I'm going to start us out in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Let's start out in Idaho Falls, Idaho. Get my timer pulled up because we're going to have 2 minutes on the clock. You got 2 minutes to do this. Here's a cute little house. We'll go ahead and pick this guy. Nice little rental. Come on, pull up. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. So $385,000. I'm going to give you guys some comps. We've got comps at $2,100. Got comps at $2,150. And we have another comp at $2,175. So those are our comps: $2,100 a month in rent, $2,150 and $2,175. Get ready. 2 minutes on the clock. Get set. Go. You got 2 minutes. Run your calculations. First one to put in the deal or no deal. $30 seconds. All right, pencils down. I had some people get this pretty quick, so I obviously need to do a little bit of math before I give you comps here. But it looks like Chris was the first one to jump in. He did direct message me. Make sure you're on everyone so everyone can see. But it was Chris that got it first. He said no deal. So Chris, come off mute. Explain to me how you got no deal so fast. I think I know, but for everyone else's sake, let's talk about how you got no deal so fast.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I kind of cheated. I think you probably know that.
Okay.
I took the average price,
Okay.
and before I did the final math, the average rent was like $100 cheaper than what my monthly payment was.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need to go any further.
We're seeing a lot of that in this market, huh? There's a lot of no deals out there. Okay. All right. Yep. I'm going to take that because immediately if our rent is below what our mortgage payment is, we don't need to go any further. And I like that. You guys caught on to that. This is about saving time. So if we can be efficient and we notice that our average rent payment is below our mortgage payment, why do the rest of the math? We don't need to go all the way down the road to figure out that our cash flow is going to be upside down. So I love it. All right, Chris. So you took round one. Congratulations. Oh, by the way, we're playing for $50 today. So the winner, whoever wins the most rounds tonight, if there's going to be a tie, we're going to have to do a tiebreaker. I'm sorry, but whoever wins the most rounds tonight is going to get a $50 gift card, and my gift cards come in the form of a Venmo. So $50 Venmo to whoever wins tonight. So Chris, because you won the first round, congratulations, my friend. There's your rookie coming out of the gates hot. I love it. By the way, guys, Chris is our most recent member of our community. So welcome, Chris. But Chris, go ahead and pick our next city. We're gonna pick another property out of whatever city you pick.
Riverton, Utah.
Riverton, Utah. All right, I love it. Keeping it close to home. Riverton, Utah. All righty. Let's pick a cute little old house. Yeah, prices are going up in Riverton. I love it. Okay. All right, let's pick this guy. $459.9. All right, no cheating. You can't jump in yet. All right, so let me get you guys some comps here. Okay. All right. So round two comps. We have 3,500, 3,200, and 3,450. That's 3,500, 3,200, and 3,450. We've got three houses, same neighborhood. This is what they're renting out for. Now we're going to take the average of those. We're going to find our average rent. So 2 minutes on the clock, guys. On your mark, get set, go. One minute. Ten seconds. All righty, pencils down. Okay, we got Chris coming out of the gate hot. He says deal. All right, Chris, come off mute again, my friend. Talk me through it. How'd you get deal?
So the average price. Oh, dang it! Can I go back on my history? So the average rent was $3,393, and then take that, divide it by 10. Instead of doing that, I'm doing it in my head, because then it's $338 is what you pay them. So then I separate that minus that, and it was above $400 for the rent, or the profit that I would make.
Perfect. Okay, awesome. I love it. That's what I got as well. This is a deal. So congratulations, Chris. You took the first round and second round. Chris is in the lead with 2 rounds. Melissa, you were right behind Chris, or let's see. Yeah, Melissa, you were right behind Chris. So get the next one. I love it. Let's stay up on this. Okay, real quick, I want to just take a second and I want to talk about, because part of this is training, right? So I want to talk about going back to our deal spotter system here. If we are looking at the deal spotter system, we're starting out. So remember, this is to save us time, right? A big mistake that a lot of amateur investors make is they find a lead, right? They're cruising through Zillow. They're like, oh, here's one for sale. I'm going to go drive out to the property 45 minutes away. I'm going to take pictures of it. I'm going to, put my offer together and fill out the rep C. And then they reach out to the homeowner and the homeowner's like, oh, we're not interested, right? And so what ends up happening is amateur investors end up wasting a lot of time on things that they should have done later on in their process. What we're trying to do with quick analysis, these are not our fine-tuned numbers. And I know my perfectionists always have a lot of problem with this step because they want to get that perfect number, right? This is a quick analysis. This just tells us if it's worth our time. So if in the real world, if we come back with, hey, this is a deal, now I'm going to spend the time. But before I even do this part of it, I'm going to reach out to the homeowner, whether that's via text or even an automated text or email, or like Maeli and I use, or if you're going to call them, that's fine. If you're knocking doors and you run into somebody, first thing you want to find out is, are you open to selling your property? Are you open to receiving an offer from me? We're only actually going to run the numbers on the yeses. There's no reason for us to drive to the property and take pictures of it if the homeowner tells us that they're not interested. So that's the first thing that we're going to figure out is, are they interested in selling their property? That's this first filter of seller desire, right? The yeses, we take those and we run the numbers on. That's what we're doing tonight. And then if the numbers say deal, now we're going to fill out a rep C. We're going to submit an offer and they get to decide, right? And we get to start entering that negotiation process and they get to decide. So that is going to tell us, like our quick analysis on these rentals, that's going to tell us whether these numbers work. And if we need to adjust our purchase price down, that tells us, okay, this is what the purchase price actually needs to be for this to work. And that's where we can go in on our offer. But once we submit that offer, they either accept it or they don't. Guess what? Maeli and I don't actually go look at properties until we know whether or not they're going to accept the offer. If they're going to accept the offer, we'll go take a look at it because we can always back out. Even if they formally accept the offer, we can always back out if for any reason in our long analysis, when we have our home inspector there, when we have our contractor there. A lot of times, things will come back in the home inspection where we're like, oh, we need a discount on this and this and this and this and this. And we actually get an even better deal in step 4, right? But we're not wasting our time driving to the property or filling out an offer or any of those things unless we know in our quick analysis that, hey, this is going to be a deal. So that's why we're doing this activity. All right, let's come back. Chris, you took round 2, my friend, so you get to pick where we're going in round 3. Go ahead and pick a city. Let me know where you want to play. Sandy, Utah. All righty. So we're going to go back to search here. And we're going to go, we're going to go Sandy, Utah. There it is. Okay, I love it. Alrighty. Oh, look at this cute little place. This looks like a duplex. Okay, let's take this guy. $585,000. So $585,000 is the purchase price. And do some quick math to give you some comps. Okay. Alrighty, so round 3, we're in Sandy. Our comps are going to be $3,600, $3,800, and $3,990. $3,600, $3,800, and $3,990. That's what we went and found 3 other properties that are being rented out. And that is what they're being rented out for. That's what we're going to be comparing these against. We're going to pull our averages, so hold off on your math until the timer starts. 2 minutes on the clock, guys. On your mark, get set, go. Thirty seconds. Alrighty, time's up. Pencils down. Chris coming out of the gate hot again. I love it. And you put no deal, and I agree with you. So talk to me about how you got no deal.
Sorry, I had to go get food too.
Nice. I love it. Multitasking. You still won.
So it was average rent was 3,796. Divide that by 10, so I just moved that decimal point. Minus 380, I rounded up. So minus $380 for that, which gave me 3,416, which with a monthly payment of 3,473, you're actually losing money.
Yep. We're losing money. Yep, I agree. Okay. Alrighty. Well, Chris, you got to pick the last three.
Yeah,
so
somebody
I'm
else
gonna
can pick.
I'm gonna let our next person on the list here, Missy Ringwood. Why don't you come out and pick our next city?
How about Heber?
Heber, Utah. All right, keeping it close to home. I love it. All right, let's do it. Okay, let's see here. All right, Heber, let's see. There's a fun little house. Let's pick this guy. This is a fun little rental right here. Okay. All right, we got a purchase price of $344,000. And I just realized I wasn't even calculating the right interest rate here. So my math was probably off, but it was still a no deal last time. Okay, round 4, we've got other comparables in the same area, the same neighborhood that are a similar size of house. 1 bed, 1 bath, around 800 to 1,000 square feet. And those are renting out for $2,100. And we've got a $2,150, and we've got a little outlier. We're gonna do $23.99. $23.99. So $2,100, $2,150, and $23.99. So let's jump in on this. So on your marks, get set, go. $45 seconds left. All right, pencils down. Time's up. All right, Chris again. My man, come on out. You put no deal and I agree. Talk to me. How'd you get it?
Average rent was $1,283, and payments $2,000. So didn't need to go any further.
Okay, I actually got an average rent. Mine came in a little different. I still agree with you on no deal.
Oh, because then the average rent was higher, but then by the time I took the 10% away, that left me with a profit.
Yep. And we were upside down. So, yep. Okay, I like it. You're coming out fast. I want to see if I can stump you guys. All right, let's see. Ganji says, "Way to go, Chris! I love it." Right.
I'm sorry. I'm just too competitive.
I love it, man. That's what this is for. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can stump you guys. So everybody came in with a no deal. I love that. We got you all participating. Let's see. I'm gonna let Charlotte pick our next city. Charlotte, if you're in a spot where you can share with us where you'd like to play next.
The one place I like, because it's the homes are so inexpensive but rents are still okay, is Rockford, Illinois.
Rockford, Illinois. All right, for round 5, we're playing at Rockford, Illinois. Perfect. Okay, a couple good little rentals here. I like it. All right, let's play with this guy. $279.9. Okay, let me see here. All right. Okay. All right, for round 5, our first comparable, the first house that we look at in the neighborhood that's also renting out, it's a 4-bed, 2-bath, very comparable to this house, is renting for $1,700. Okay. The next one is renting for $28.95. And the last comparable is renting for $24.99. Okay, $1,700. There's a big spread, and sometimes you see this where it's like, geez, I'm off by $1,000 by some of these. $1,700, $28.95, and $24.99. Those are our 3 comps. 2 minutes on the clock. On your mark, get set, go. Remember not to start before we start the timer. All right, 40 seconds left. Ten seconds. And pencils down. All right. Looks like we have Missy is the first one on the board. So, Missy, come on out. Congratulations. Come on out and let us know what you got and how you got it. You said deal. I agree. So, walk us through how you got it.
Okay, well, initially I almost felt like I didn't need to do the math, to be honest, because it sounded like the rents were significantly higher just from the payment. But I did do the math. So it did look like the average rent was going to be about, what, 21, 28? I'm trying to remember if I wrote my numbers down because I already cleared it. And then with the payment being about 17, 16, even with the 10%, rents were still above.
Yep. We ended up with about $400 in cash flow on this guy. So, perfect. We got deal on the board. Missy shows up as the winner of round 5. Congratulations, Missy. And you
had
get
to give Chris a little competition.
That's right. Yeah, gotta give him a run for his money. I love it.
Nice job.
Okay, so Missy, you get to pick our next city. Where are we playing?
Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Beautiful city. I love Jackson Hole.
I might have to add another number or digit or two.
Let's see. We buying this guy $22 million. That'd be awesome, right? It's all right. We'll pay cash, right? Let's see here. Oh, man. They're all 7 and 8 digit properties.
Yeah, this might be wishful thinking, but...
Oh, let's do it. I love it. I love it. Let's play it. Let's play it. We can see what it looks like on the high end. I love it. Okay. All right. We're going to buy this guy. $6.65 million. This is fun. Good choice. Oh, man. That's beautiful. How'd they get a picture of my summer home in here? All right. Okay.
Yeah, I think that could work.
Yeah, right? I'd be fine with it. So it's okay. It's okay. I'll settle. All right. So... payments $38,000 a month. I love it. Okay, I just gave you guys the payment, but we'll still play it. All right, so we've got rent comps now. Maybe we play this one like an Airbnb, right? Maybe that's how we play this one, but in real life. But let's throw out some comps of $250 a month is our margin on this one. Yeah, right. But we're still gonna play it that way. All right, so let's throw out some rent comps of $40,000 a month. Let's throw out another rent comp of $32,000 a month. And one more comp. We're going to go $33,000 a month. Okay, so your rent comps are $40,000, $32,000, and $33,000 a month. So I'm gonna let you guys run with that. We'll put 2 minutes on the clock here. On your mark, get set, go. All right, 40 seconds. All right, pencils down. This was a fun one. Looks like Charlotte got first position on the board on this round. So Charlotte, why don't you come off mute? Let us know how you got
it. All I did was eyeball it. I just listened to your numbers. I'm like, that's not going to work. So.
It's like, yeah, my 10%'s $3,000 off. So I love it. Okay, I love it.
It's nice to think about, but
right. Wouldn't that be nice? I love it. Okay. All right, Charlotte. So I'm gonna let you pick the next city here. So go ahead and give us our next place we're gonna play. And by the way, guys, we're at round 7, so we're gonna call it after round 7, and we're gonna go into training mode, and we're gonna talk about what we learned and how we can apply this in the real world. So last round, Charlotte, you pick it.
Flint, Michigan.
Clint, Michigan. I like
Flint.
Oh, Flint.
Mm-hmm.
Flint, Michigan. Okay. All right, putting our feet back on the ground. I like it. Head out of the clouds, feet on the ground. Here we go. That was a fun pick, though, Missy. I love it. Okay, all right. This little 250 abundant land. Maybe we can build like an ADU, rent that guy out. Okay, all right, we're going to go with this guy. $225,000. And we're going to get you some comps here real quick. Give me just a second. Remember not to start doing your math until the timer starts. Gotta keep it fair. Alrighty. Okay. So we've got some comps here at 1665, 1701, and 1782. So our comps for round 7 are 1665, 1701, and 1782. 2 minutes on the clock. On your mark, get set, go. Okay, 50 seconds. All right, time's up. Pencils down. Last round. Chris comes back with the no deal. I agree. And congrats, Missy, on catching yourself. Sometimes we do that, right? Sometimes we do the math wrong. And this is why we double and triple check. So I'm glad you caught that. But Chris, talk to us. You won the last round, my friend. Also, looks like you're the champion. Congratulations. Come on out and tell us how you got it, and then we're going to go into the training portion here.
So average rent was $17.16, and then minus the property management 172, rounded up, and so then it equaled, and then minus my payment only left me with a profit of $144.
Yep, which doesn't quite hit our minimum cash flow. And it's important that we set that minimum cash flow, guys. You have to, and we do this with flips too. We got to know that minimum number that we're willing to take the deal for. Otherwise, we walk. And in a lot of cases, even if it's $1 shy, we walk because of an abundance mindset, right? There's plenty of deals out there. I don't need to tie up capital in one that's going to make me less than my minimum number. I'll just go find the next one, right? And that's the whole idea here. This is why we need to be focused on the funnel side of it, the finding, analyzing, negotiating, funding, and closing on deals. We got to keep that pipeline full. And in our deal of the decade class in Essentials, we're given 24 different strategies to make sure that, and easy strategies that we can go find distressed homeowners to keep that pipeline full. And when we have an abundance of leads, we can make abundance mindset decisions. We don't have to try to force it because we think it's the only deal on the market. I like it. So congratulations, Chris. You are our champion for today, my friend. Why don't you text me your Venmo, and I'll shoot you over your winnings for the night. $50. That's awesome. Okay, let's jump back into Zoom here. Alrighty. So I want to chat through with you guys. Talk to me about what you learned tonight. What are some of the nuggets that you got out of this training, or out of this game, right? Which I guess it's a game / training. What did you guys pull out of tonight's experience? Let's talk about it.
Down payments at 20% are a killer, and no way you can justify those kind of down payments with a $250 profit.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing, and you bring up a good point, Charlotte. Right now, historically, and I don't know how it was in 2008. I wasn't playing this game in 2008. I was 22 years old, just freshly married to my first wife, and still trying to figure out life. So I wasn't quite in real estate investing yet in 2008. But since I've been doing this, since 2013, and as far as I know, before 2013, you've always been able to buy a house, get a mortgage on it, and for the most part, rent it out for more than what your mortgage is. The rental market has always been a cost plus market, and that's what that motivates people to be investors. And provide housing for people who aren't in a situation where they can go buy a home on their own. 2022 hit, the interest rates went crazy. We've got kind of two problems, right? Values went crazy because we were at 0% interest. Then interest rates went crazy without the values coming down a whole lot. And the rent market just didn't quite keep up with it. And so now we're in this weird spot that I've never seen before where the cost of a mortgage The monthly cost of a mortgage is more expensive than the average rent. In fact, I was reading an article, I know I've shared this before, this was a few months back, so this is aged data, but I think still relevant in the market we're in right now, where there's an $1,100 deficit between the average house payment and the average rent payment. That's crazy. So what that tells us is, as investors, especially as investors who are motivated to buy and hold, if that's what you want to be focused on, the traditional method just doesn't work right now. And so if we're uneducated and the only option we have is, hey, I'll just do what I was taught in school. Go find a house from a realtor, buy it with a mortgage, pay the going interest rate, try to rent it out. It just doesn't work. And it probably won't work on near 100% of the properties that you'll look at, right? This is why we have to find distressed homeowners, find them at a discount. This is also why strategies like seller financing and subject to work really, really well in this market. And if we're educated and we have that tool in our tool belt, we can go out and find deals at a discount. We've got our time machine. That's what subject to is. It's a time machine. We can go back and find those deals where they bought the house or refinanced it between 2016 and 2020 when we had 2.5%, 3.5%, 4% interest rates. They had, values were a lot lower back then. So they were buying them a lot cheaper. There's a ton of equity in the property. And if we're coming in and solving a problem for them, we're usually getting those homes in a discount and picking up a payment that is very, very reasonable. In that case, the long-term rent model still works. We can rent it out for the going rate, which is exactly how we find our comps, and we can long-term rent a house. So I like that point. Thank you, Charlotte. I want to bring up the comps. So obviously, for the sake of the game and for the sake of time, so we could fit 7 rounds in, I fed you the comps. But talk to me about how you think. How would you go out and find comps in real life? How would we find comps on a property in real life? What are some options we have available to us?
Look for rentals. I mean, Zillow has rentals in most areas that you can comp.
Absolutely. We can use tools like Zillow, Redfin. One of my favorite tools to use is Rentometer. Rentometer does have a limit on how many free checks you can do per day. So if you're doing all of your quick analyses in one day, like Maeli and I do, we kind of have a weekly cycle that we do, where we do all of our lead gen every Monday. And that's Maeli's job. She does all of our lead gen every Monday. And then we do all of our quick analyses, usually on Tuesday, with some stragglers if we have delayed answers to our, are you willing to sell your home? Some of them on Wednesday. But it makes it tough if you don't have the paid account. Relationships. Remember the 5 currencies of the wealthy: time, knowledge, relationships, credit, money, right? Relationships is a currency. We can leverage relationships. Now, this is harder to do if you're a new investor and you don't have these relationships established and you haven't put some currency in that relationship account. But if you're, as you get a few years down the road and you've got several properties that are that a property manager is managing, you've got a relationship with that person, you can just call them up, right? And you can say, hey, what I'm looking at a property here. I'd have you manage it. Can you tell me what you'd be able to rent this out for? Or shoot them a text, right? And usually, I do that with my property manager. Her name's Alyssa. I send her an address and I say, hey, I'm looking at purchasing this property or this list of properties. Could you tell me what you think the rents would be? She'll run it real quick, and she's happy to do that because I send them, thousands and thousands of dollars in business every single month. She runs it. She sends it back. I plug it into my formula, and that tells me yes, no, yes, yes, no, 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 right? So you can leverage those relationships. But one thing to make sure whenever you're pulling comps, and this is true for fix and flips, for rentals, for any investing strategy, comparables are comparable properties. It's not just any old house. Like if you got, if you're looking at a Rambler and you've got a 2-story home or a split entry home next door that's renting out, it's not necessarily a comp. If you got a 2-bedroom and you're looking at a 5-bedroom, not a comp, right? These need to be comparable properties, comparable size lots, comparable parking, comparable bedrooms and bathrooms, comparable purchase price in a relatively close vicinity. Remember that when we're pulling comps, you have your imaginary lines. This is why I love playing close to home, because I've lived in the Salt Lake City, greater Salt Lake City area my entire life. I know all the imaginary lines. I know I-15 is one of the imaginary. I know State Street is, right? I know that I can't cross certain boundaries in Salt Lake County, like, 33rd South or 45th South. Like, I'm not pulling comps on different sides of those major streets. 106th South, 123rd South, like, and on the west side, 104th South. We've got these major thoroughfares where you don't want to be pulling comps from both sides of those major streets. So keep in mind your invisible lines as well. Ideally, you want them in the same development, but you kind of go outside of those. And especially when it comes to sale comps, like if we're doing flips, you want them in the last 90 to 120 days. Now, in this market, there's not a lot of stuff selling. So we tend to go back 3 to 6 months, and that's okay if you have to. Sometimes we extend our radius a little bit, but ideally you want to keep it tight geographically to where your property is. You want it to be a like property with same number of beds, baths, etc. So those comps are important because that's how we get to our average rent price, or in the case of a flip, our after repair value. All right. Any other good nuggets that we pulled out of this? Anybody want to share anything?
It's just a tough market for rentals that you really have to really be fortunate enough to either have the volume to find them or to be creative and be lucky enough to find those sellers that are willing to have creative financing with you, because it's a tough everywhere that I've seen, except for a couple cities that still have houses that are very affordable. It's just almost impossible.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It is a tough market, and that's where our education comes in, right? And that's where we need to, like you said, we need to have avenues where we can find those people who can give us the creative financing, who can afford to give us 3.5%, 4.5% interest rates, because otherwise, like we saw tonight, the numbers just aren't going to work, right? And that makes it tough. As investors, like, we don't want this to, for a lot of us, don't want this to be a supplementary thing always. We eventually want this to take over and replace our our active income so that we can retire and so that we can enjoy the wealth that we've created. So so important to stay educated. So I'm glad you brought up that point.
Yeah, just so you can. I mean, if you're not educated, you're not going to even recognize it. So at least you have to be educated, so you'll see it when you come across it. Because if you're not, then you won't even recognize it when you see it.
Yep, 100%. I agree. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for playing tonight, Chris. Congratulations, Rookie of the Year. Way to go. So make sure you text me over your Venmo and we'll get you taken care of there. Guys, don't forget about our in-person workshop tomorrow night at 7 p.m. if you're in the Utah area, which I know not all of you are, but for those who are, we'd love to have you there. And then don't forget about Nationals coming up. It's going to be held in Layton, Utah. We're going to have thousands of people there. Great opportunity to network, educational opportunities. There's some surprise announcements that are going to be happening of some awesome new tools that are coming out. We're obviously going to have the banquet where we all get to hang out and have some fun. So I'd love to see all of you there. We will be back next week. We're trying to get a guest speaker. If we can't get him for this week, we're going to get him for the following week. But one way or another, we're going to have an incredible training for you next week. And, in the meantime, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry to go out and do some real estate. I love you all, and we will see you next week. Thanks, guys. Thanks for playing. We'll talk to you soon.